Hi, my name is Steven and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking to you about phases in life, why you should really know what phase you're in. Life can be understood as a journey composed of different phases in life. Each phase marked by unique challenges, events, and experiences that you'll go through. While the timing of these phases might be different, everyone usually goes through the same number of phases. Recognizing and understanding what phase of life you're in can be really helpful in terms of personal growth and development. Understanding my current life phase helped me to strategize and plan out the rest of my future. And it allows me to adjust the path according to what I'm doing currently in the present. When we go through life changes, this involves the past and the present colliding with each other. We have to figure out what we need to let go in order for us to transition into the future. And although it was challenging and continues to be a challenge for me, I embrace the next life phase. Going through life phases isn't a seamless transition and there is time involved in it. So let's see how I figure what life phase I'm in. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about my background, how to figure out your life phase, and my general thoughts. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, hit that notification bell if you like this content. And here we go. Life as I see it are broken up into multiple phases of life. Examples are childhood, adolescence, early adulthood, adulthood, and old age. And within each of those major phases might be multiple smaller phases, in which case you might go through certain milestones for that particular phase in life. For example, buying a house or having a kid in adulthood. Knowing what current phase of life we're in helps us to set realistic goals for our present and future, and ultimately help us cope with the change of moving on from our past phase in life. Because life changes around us all the time, and we have to be prepared for the eventual shift in our phase in life. So the sooner you accept your life phase and the impending change, the better it'll be for you in the future, and help you make the most out of the current phase of life that you're in. In the past, and especially my childhood, I've had easy milestones to indicate whether I've changed phase in life or not. This was marked by going to certain schools, graduations, and ultimately graduating from college. In the past, I knew I was going through different phases, from my childhood to early adulthood. But now in my mid-30s, it's harder and harder to identify phases of transition. This has the unexpected effect on me of resisting changes and not wanting to move from a different phase in life to another. This means that in multiple situations, I might think I'm in the previous phase in life, but I'm actually in another phase. Or there really isn't a solid boundary to indicate whether I've moved to another phase or not. For example, having a kid is a solid boundary in which I've moved on to family phase in my life. So I've created a list of things that I need to identify in order to figure out what phase of life I'm currently in. So here's how you figure out what phase of life you're in. Number one, your age. The easiest way to figure out what phase of life you're currently in is your age. If you're under 20 or over 80, you are in a clear phase in life. And even into your early 30s, you might still be in your early adulthood phase. This means that you're near the age of others around you and you're all kind of going through the same experiences together. For the first few decades of my life, this was very easy for me to figure out what phase of life I'm in. Everyone around me was going through the same exact circumstances, and you can't really get out of it until you graduate high school. School segregated us into the same age bracket, so we all knew what age and what phase of life we were in. And your peers are usually going through the same things around the same age as you are, but not always. Sometimes people move faster or slower depending on the circumstances in their life. So looking at your peers and their age can give you a sense of what life phase they're currently at. Number two, life milestones. Life milestones gives you an indication of whether you transitioned into another phase of life, and offers you a clear indication that you have moved on. These pivotal events like starting a family, getting a job, and graduating high school are significant milestones in life. And these milestones provide you invaluable context about your journey in life and where you're currently at. Identifying and reflecting on these milestones helps us to navigate the journey of our life phases. This helps us to navigate the challenges and help set goals for the next set of life milestones. Some of my life milestones were graduating from school, moving out of my house, and having a child. These gave me a strong indication that I've fully moved and transitioned to another phase of my life. For me, that transition to another life phase was black and white. There was no ambiguity in it. This means that I have to be ready for what that next phase of life entails and all the planning and goals that come along with it. Usually these are typical life milestones that everyone goes through at some point in their life. It's significant and it changes your life irrevocably. So when you hit a life milestone, you're probably in the next phase of your life. Number 3, social circles. Examining your social circles and the people that you surround yourself is a great way to understand what life phase you're currently at. The nature of your relationships can give you a huge indication of your life phase. Example of this is forging new friendships, nurturing family ties, or growing your career. The people around you offer priorities and insights into your current phase. The people we group up and hang out in our lives tend to be around the same life phase as we are. Although it's not a 100% correlation due to the differences in people themselves. But this means that we have a way to gauge our social standings with the life phase we're in. In my life, my social circle has tracked closely to what phase of life I'm currently at. When I was younger, all my friends tended to be from school, so I knew which phase I was in. When I was in early adulthood, all of us had the same immediate goals in life: to get a career settled and to have a spouse. And now in my mid-30s, I'm surrounded by people that are forming family ties and having their children. Although we have different ages, we are on similar life phases. When you're looking at social circles, look at their day-to-day lives. Does it match closely with your day-to-day life? And pay attention to how similar or different that can be. This can give you an indication of whether or not you're aligned with their life phase or not. And crucially, look at what they're doing in order for them to be in their current life phase. If they're in a future life phase than where you are at, then you can understand what their day-to-day life is and work towards that. So look at your social circle for a broad indication of what your life phase is at. Number 4, mindset in life. Analyzing your mindset and comparing that to others can give you a good indication of where you are in your life phase. The way you perceive challenges, tackle your goals, and move throughout life is a strong indication of how mature you are. Whether you're driven by growth or seek stability, your mindset is an indication of what life phase you're at, especially when you're approaching your adulthood. This is a period of time in which your life phases start to diverge from others, and you can get wildly different variations in age depending on the mindset you have in life. You can be in your teens but have a mindset of early adolescence, or be a 30-year-old but be decades ahead of your peers in terms of their life phase. This is because each of us deals with and perseveres through challenges differently. And the more we fight through and gain life experiences, that moves us forward in our life phases. And the more we change and adapt to future circumstances as a result of it. I aged mindset-wise really rapidly in my early 20s after I moved out of my parents' house. That made me form a mindset of independence that I hadn't done in my early life. And this independence ultimately springboarded me into where I am today. Because of this independence, I was able to move to 2 different cities and form different friend groups. And that experience helped shape the person I am today. And even if you have children of your own, you might not be ready for that full adulthood. You might be stuck in adolescence. Or that you still want to maintain the early adolescent lifestyle that you had. So whatever mindset you have in life can help you identify what phase of life you're currently at. Number 5, self-reflection. Engaging in deep self-reflection helps you to assess your current life phase. By looking at your priorities, goals, and personal growth endeavors, it can help you to focus in on where you're at. And you ultimately gain more clarity about your current situation in life. The introspection process informs you of your current actions and how they jive with your reality. This means that you're assessing the details and realities of your life and not looking into ideals or fantasies. This is by far the hardest thing to do when you're trying to assess what life phase you're at. Because it's really hard to take a cold assessment of our own personal lives and give us a no BS assessment of it. In my late 20s, I engaged a lot in self-reflection and where I was currently at. This means that I needed to understand where I was emotionally and mentally, and what parts of my life that I still needed to work on in order for me to get to the next phase of my life. At that time, I desperately wanted to move into the spouse and family phase, but that there was things preventing me from doing so, and that was a lot of fantasies and idealism, and also that I needed to take a lot more risk in order to get what I wanted in life. If I hadn't done that self-reflection, I would have never figured out what my mistakes were and what did I need to fix. Self-reflection allows us to understand who we really are at the present stage of our life. Because we may think we're in the midlife phase, but we're really stuck in early adolescent, or being in the teenage phase and thinking that we're already at early adulthood. Only through self-understanding can we get a really good glimpse of what phase of life we're at. So here are my general thoughts on gauging where you are in your life phase. Unless we really want to transition into the next phase of our life, like when we're younger and we dream of adulthood, nobody really wants to enter the next phase. Usually that life phase means that we're getting older and we have more responsibility as a result of it. And the next phase is simply just another set of life milestones we're trying to hit and move on from. And most people think of it that way when we transition from life phase to life phase. But I think that we can be more proactive and plan out the next phase of our life. So crucially, that means we're prepared for the next life milestone, and when that comes, it doesn't shock us, phase us, or cause us to not undergo that change. We're prepared for that change rather than being forced into it. When people are not mentally ready for that life phase, we tend to be reluctant and push back against our surroundings. And it's harder and harder for us to change and adapt to the new set of circumstances. And lastly, sometimes the past is just hard to let go, especially when we're moving past a life phase. It can be alluring to stay where you are and simply just stay stuck in your last life phase because you know where everything is and how to do things. We can go from feeling really good to ourselves to feeling like crap when we transition into another life phase. So people tend to want to stay where they're at. But life always changes, and that is a promise. You'll never be able to escape it. This means that we constantly need to prepare for what's next and what's headed our way in the next life phase. If we don't, then it's going to be that much harder to transition to the next phase of our life. So those are my thoughts on how to find what phase of life you're currently at. As we age, we go from wanting to experience new life phases to revisiting old ones of years past. Our journey in life is a series of different phases that we go through. Each period of time offers different challenges, goals, and priorities that we set. Recognizing which phase of life you're currently at empowers us to make and plan good decisions for our future, so we can set meaningful goals and embrace personal growth into our next phase of life. Through knowing what phase of life I was currently at, it helped me to better understand my current situation and also plan for the future. And it helped me to ease the transition into the next phase of life, whether I'm prepared for it or not. And also understanding different phases of life helps you to connect with empathy with other people that have gone through similar situations as you will. And it ultimately helps us to build and foster different connections with people in different life phases than our own. So thank you for watching. Please leave a comment down below on what life phase you're currently at, and has it been a good experience for you or not? And I'll see you next time.